Well, I cannot answer that. Excellent. So I'll call the meeting to order. Town of Crossfield agenda, regular council meeting Tuesday, October 17th, 2023, 7 p.m. We'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Indigenous peoples of the Treaty 7 territory and the Otay-Pimiciwak Métis government, District 4. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First People of Canada, whose presence continue to enrich our community. And hopefully I said that correctly. We'll see. Okay. Item number 2, agenda. Are there any additions to the or omissions to the agenda? All right, if not, can I get a motion?
Through chair,
Go ahead.
I will make the motion that the October 17th, 2023 agenda be accepted as prepared.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carried. Item 3.1, minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes? If there are no changes, can I get a motion?
Through the chair. I move that the minutes of the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting be accepted as presented.
All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, new business, appointment of the new deputy mayor. We've been going on 6-month rotations. I had a chat with the remaining 2 councillors, and Councillor Vang has said that he is ready to be up for the challenge to be deputy mayor. So any discussion around that? Okay. If there's no discussion, can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
I motion that Sean Vang be appointed as deputy mayor for a 6-month term.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. So we'll just do a little swearing in. I think we can just do it behind here. If you want to stand up. Insert your name there.
I, Sean Vang, do solemnly swear as deputy mayor of the town of Crossfield, I shall perform duties of the deputy mayor faithfully, integrity, abide by statutes, laws, bylaws, policies that cover the town of Crossfield, our town, openness, accountability, and responsible leadership, provide stewardship of public asset through the development of an evaluation of the town's policies and programs. Always consider the well-being and interests of the community as whole, leading the development of a safe, vibrant, sustainable town.
Fine there. Okay, item 5.1, bylaw 2023-11, amendment to bylaw 2015-07, Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan. Director of Corporate Services, Lindsay.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Earlier within 2023, administration started working in collaboration with Dream Developments, Urban Systems, and MPE Engineering to review a proposed area structure plan amendment for Vista Crossing. The reasoning behind the need to amend the area structure plan stems from the cost associated with moving the ATCO pipeline. Throughout the year, administration has shared feedback on the proposed amendments for Dream's consideration, resulting in the latest revised ASP document. At the October 3rd, 2023 council meeting, Clark from Dream spoke with council on some of the amendments being proposed. Wider carriageways, 10.4 meter carriageways and collector roads, 4 more acres of park space, providing an open space policy that speaks to recreation opportunities and amenities, and remaining under the density targets of the municipal development plan, 5.5 units per acre. Following the council meeting, Dream Development submitted the area structure plan amendment to administration, and the processes that follow the submission are council considers giving bylaw 2023-11 being a bylaw of the town of Crossfield to amend bylaw 2015-07 Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan pursuant to section 633 of the Municipal Government Act, first reading. Administration then will prepare the circulation material to be mailed to adjacent landowners, applicable agencies, as well as advertise on all social media platforms. We will co-host an open house with Dream Developments on November 8th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We'll hold a public hearing on December 5th during the regular council meeting to present council with staff report and provide feedback from the circulation. And then at the December 5th council meeting, we would ask that council consider giving bylaw 2023-11 being a bylaw of the town of Crossfield to amend bylaw 2015-07 Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan, second and third readings. So tonight we are asking that council give first reading to bylaw 2023-11 and that a public hearing date be set for December 5th at 7 p.m.
Thanks, Lindsay. Any questions? Okay, there's no questions. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Through the chair.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Ladies
Councilor
first.
Brennan.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. I make the motion that the bylaw 2023-11 being a bylaw of the town of Crossfield to amend bylaw 2015-07 Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan pursuant to this section 633 of the Municipal Government Act be given first reading and that a public hearing date be set for December 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
All in favor? Just curious. Yeah, opposed?
Aye.
Yeah, just curious, Lindsay. Does that have to be unanimous?
No,
Okay.
just majority.
All right, so motion passed. Okay, item 6.1. Levels of service. Director of Community and Protective Services, Russ Nash.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Good evening, council. In late 2022, an external review was completed on the fire department operations. One of the recommendations coming out of this review was to update the levels of service for the fire department. This policy was last brought forward to the April 18th regular council meeting where the following motion was made. Moved by Councillor Gustafson that council table the recommendation for the fire department level of service until further notice. Since this time, Fire Chief Messner has joined our team and has taken the time to review the levels of service along with the relevant resources we have available. It is important to note that in reviewing and considering recommendations for the fire department levels of service, the following factors were considered. The well-being of our firefighters, for example, fatigue, time spent away from family, etc. Being cognizant of and thankful for the local businesses who are kind enough to allow their employees to respond to calls during the day and not wanting to take advantage of that arrangement. And ensuring that our firefighters are not attending calls or handling tasks for which they are not appropriately trained or for which we do not have the appropriate equipment. One of the more controversial proposed changes to the fire department levels of service is to medical responses, particularly when it comes to the seniors facilities in town. In the attached draft of the levels of service policy, the recommended service level for medical responses as indicated in Appendix A is the following. For auto dispatch Charlie, all Delta and all Echo calls. The fire department would respond to all calls within Crossfield and outside of town per mutual aid agreements. For Alpha and Bravo calls, as well as Charlie calls, which are not auto dispatched, will be responded to if EMS arrival will extend over 30 minutes within town limits or if requested by EMS. This means that our fire department will only be dispatched if, when the 911 call is made, the dispatcher sees that available ambulances are more than 30 minutes away from Crossfield. They will not wait for 30 minutes and then dispatch our crews. The dispatcher would make this decision at the time the call is made to 911. And then Omega calls would not be responded to. Chief Messner and I did have a chance to meet with representatives of the Rockyview Lodge and the Manor to review the recommended changes to medical responses and explained what it means. They understood that the fire department will not wait longer than 30 minutes prior to responding, and that someone, whether it is EMS or the Crossfield Fire Department, will still respond to a non-emergent call within 30 minutes. This also holds true for the community as a whole. Should the situation take a turn for the worse and become emergent within that time frame, another call could be made to 911, which would dispatch the fire department. Other notable changes to the levels of service include for hazardous materials and dangerous goods, all calls will be dealt with at the awareness level, which means the fire department personnel will recognize risks and hazards, adopt a defensive position, secure the area, and call for specialized assistance. The reason for this is we do not currently have enough of the specialized training or equipment to perform above the awareness level. Over time, the fire department can work to advance to the operations level, which means the fire department personnel will take action to contain and control the incident and seek assistance from outside agencies or nearest mutual aid fire department equipped to mitigate the incident if required. This can be added to the levels of service policy when appropriate. And the other one is in special teams who will respond to all situations listed at an awareness level for the same reasons as noted above for the hazardous materials and dangerous goods. More specialized training equipment is required. Over time, the fire department will work to advance to the operations level, which can be added again when it is appropriate. It is important to identify and adopt the levels of service council wants the fire department to follow because it provides the foundation on which the fire services policies and standard operating guidelines are developed, or SOGs. These policies and SOGs have been drafted with the assistance of Seahawk Consulting and can quickly be implemented and or altered once the levels of service policy is approved by council. Following this, training plans can be tailored to address the levels of service and the SOGs. Before I finish, I just wanted to just make a note. I've provided to all of council there a few pieces of paper or a few documents. One of them, the first one is in reviewing this prior to coming tonight, Chief Messner and I kind of discussed, and we noticed one spot within the Appendix A that could be a little confusing, and so we've added under heavy transport. Originally, there was no X's there stating that we would respond to that call. We would respond to a call that would involve heavy transport, but it would be at the awareness level where the fire department will assess the situation, contain the situation, and then call in for further help for a heavy rescue. And then in addition to that, we have provided some information for you on EMS response times for May, June, July, and August of this year, as well as call response total by type from January to September, and then just a comparison of municipalities and what their response levels are for medicals. So with that, we're here for questions and clarification. And I do have Chief Messner here with me to assist.
Excellent, thank you. Questions for the chief or for us?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Knight.
I guess when it comes to a topic like this for our citizens, I kind of want to get a better understanding about why we're doing this. I know that we had a consultant that was in here that looked at our review of policies, coming from a bigger fire hall than we are right now. So kind of not really an apples to apples comparison, but are we short staffed? Are we under budget? I guess what's the first driving force? I know we're trying to right size things, but what's the first step in this direction that's really kind of driving the offer of changing this? Is it short staffed? Is it budget? Or is it just based on a recommendation?
Through the chair, if I may. Counselor, what is the primary focus on is with this is recommendation? Focus more on the emergency focus of what a fire department in my past experiences is really all about, and that's the focus on more emergency. This is no this in no way is lessening the services that we're providing the community. This is more or less just an alteration of what we presently do.
So it's not a staffing issue. We're not short staffed in the fire hall. Is that what we're saying?
Staffing with any type of organization such as ours has become a definitive issue. We're not the only ones having staffing issues. This type of staffing issue definitely is being found in most all organizations, paid on call organizations such as ours. We have a very, very good core group of people who serve this community, and they step up on a regular basis to answer the call of this community. So in my opinion, it's not so much a staffing issue. It's more or less a time issue, and the time it takes for the skill sets to be learned for them to be able to do our job safely.
Okay, when I look at the calls here, the stats from January to September, 27 Alpha, 22 Bravo, 57 Charlie, 57 Delta, 2 Echo. What percentages of calls would probably be not responded to in this 9-month window on this change of terms? So are we talking 25% less calls? What do you think this chart actually looks like with our new implementation of our new policy?
If you take the numbers that I've provided here, Counselor, it would, in essence, you would take away the Alpha, so the 27, the 22 Bravo. And I would say probably if we go with a select Charlie mandate within our medical responses, I would say probably half of the Charlies we would limit.
So am I reading it wrong when it says we'd still respond to Alphas and Bravos if the ambulance is outside 30 minutes?
Correct.
So there still would have to be some calls in here, but they're not.
So
27 and 22?
So with this being said, we would the recommendation is to take away the Alpha and the Bravos
Entirely,
and to respond to a select amount of or criteria rather of Charlies.
so I'm
If I can just clarify that a little bit, it's
Through
not
the chair?
taking, oh, I'm sorry, through the chair. It's not completely taking them away. It's if EMS is outside of the 30-minute window, then we would respond.
It's just a matter of who's going to
Yeah.
respond, whether
So-
it's us or AHS.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so when Chief Mesner went through the EMS response times, within those last 4 months, there wasn't anything that was outside of the 30-minute window from EMS.
okay, that
So-
answers the 0 versus.
Yeah.
I guess I struggle a little bit because I do see like 9 to 10 minute gaps, and I do want to appreciate what our firefighters are doing here. I also just want to make sure that if we're not making this on a staff decision or a budget decision, and we're trying to right size the hall and look in the right direction, this is something that we could kind of change the policy at any time. So I guess I'm a little hesitant on my vote personally, just to engage something that we're not driving it by a budget number or a staff number or anything like that. I guess that's my comment.
Counselor Gustafson, you had some
Yeah,
questions.
Through the chair. How many of the Alpha and Bravo or Bravo calls work through the lodge? Do you know that statistic?
Through the chair. I don't have that offhand, but I can definitely get that information to you.
And just, you know, we are always concerned about
Mhm.
you know, making sure we are taking care of them. You know, I guess you had talks with the lodge as well, and I guess, are you able to kind of expand on like, you know, I know that they would have concern on our decisions, whether, you know, it's tonight or going forward. So I guess for me to make a really good decision is how many of the Alpha and Bravo calls are to the lodge that you might be missing out on. I think, you know, that you don't want to miss out on, you know, anybody other residents as well, but are out of the 27 and 22 from January to September, how many? Is that going to make a big difference to? And that's originally why I tabled this. Is that, you know, 9-10 minutes is going to make a difference to somebody's well-being? If it's an alpha call, I don't know, because I haven't been with the fire department when they go to a call at the lodge. Is that 9 minutes going to make or break the well-being of one of our seniors? This is, you know, a concern of mine. I don't know.
Are you looking for an answer for that?
Well, you know,
You have to ask the question.
you know, our fire chief, he was going to come back with some stats there on that.
And through the chair, and I think we've been through this before, and maybe Chief Messenger can just maybe elaborate a little bit on what Alpha means, Bravo means. Like the Alphas and Bravos are less emergent calls. They're not an emergency situation. So I don't know if you've got anything else to elaborate on that, other than they're not emergency calls. They're not an emergency situation. Yes, somebody may be in some discomfort or pain, or, you know, who knows what the situation might be. And I suppose having a firefighter there to hold a hand or, you know, give some comfort, that could help. Same thing could be done by somebody providing first aid. They can't give medications to, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, firefighters can't give medications for pain.
Correct.
So that can't be done until EMS arrives anyway. So
just to be clear through the chair, that when we do respond to an Alpha or Bravo call at the lodge, we're there to do what?
Through the chair.
Yep.
So if you think of it this way, alphas and bravos are the lower level, in my opinion, would be the more non-emergent. They would be for the EMS world or AHS, they would be like the patient transfers, or they are helping somebody up off the ground. There's no immediate medical emergency for those alphas and bravos.
So that 9 minutes really doesn't change. It's not a life or death situation.
Not Bravo.
I mean,
Through the chair, could I just run a scenario by you? So if somebody does fall, EMS is 30 minutes away, and it seems like an awful waste of time to spend, unless there's an underlying medical issue, for EMS to even show up at all. But so how long could that person potentially be down?
Through the chair. To answer that is, it would, the easiest way to answer that is actually through what we're presenting right now, is that if we do the recommendation, any alphas and bravos where EMS is going to be longer than 30 minutes.
Mhm. But you said the fire department wouldn't wait that long.
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
It's a dispatch would see on their screen where the closest EMS unit would be.
Mhm.
And if it shows that it's beyond the 30-minute mark, we would be automatically
So it
dispatched.
could add an extra couple of minutes to your response time just because you need to do a little back and forth with the dispatch. But other than that, it shouldn't make any, they wouldn't be down any longer. They wouldn't be down for 30 minutes.
It depends on when the EMS unit gets there.
Right.
We would be there if as soon as possible, I'm going
Mhm.
to say,
Right.
if we are dispatched to that type of scenario where the EMS unit is going to be
Mhm.
30 minutes.
I
So
mean, normally if somebody goes down, there is an underlying medical issue of some sort. But yeah, I just wondered how much longer it would add to the time that they were down on the floor. And by the sounds of it, would no more than the time it would take you to talk back and forth with dispatch on the length of time.
Just for clarity, is the fire department there to hold hands? Or does the fire department have the ability to pick up an Alpha Bravo and put them back into the bed? Or wherever they need to be?
Your worship, that's something that we're identifying right now in terms of our medical responses. Okay, and our medical mandates. Our training is something that I'm looking into right now.
That doesn't really answer the question. What do you do currently?
Currently, we do, we have in the past lifted patients up off the ground and moved them.
And legally?
At this point, your worship, I am looking at our past training and where we are in terms of our standard operating procedures for this. And I can have an answer for you once I'm done the search on this.
So what I'm hearing now is the town could be liable right now if our firefighters are actually taking action and picking some of these Alpha Bravos at the lodge up.
There's a potential, yes.
Right. I will get to you, Councillor Brennan, for sure. So that's a concern of mine. I know that at the lodge currently, they don't have any staff that are able to pick them up either, but they are able to comfort them and sit with them until AHS gets there. So to me, we're not really filling a role or a gap there until we figure out if there's liability to the town or what our fire department can do. I think my other concern is we're really relying on an outside dispatcher. Where's our dispatcher from?
Calgary.
They're from Calgary, and so it's local to Calgary.
Pardon me?
They're local to Calgary. They don't service it out.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So we're relying on a dispatcher, not from in Crossfield, for action and discretion on what calls our fire department goes to. That's more of a statement than a question. Okay. I have a question though. Crossfield was promised an ambulance a couple years ago. I would like to know, where is our ambulance? Why isn't it stationed here as promised? And if we can do some follow-up on that.
Through the chair. Yeah. We will follow up on that.
Okay, great. And then I think that moving forward, any AHS calls that we do attend, whether they're within town or on the highway, let's ensure that we send an invoice to Alberta Health Services. Whether they pay it or not, I think we should start recording that and sending them the invoices. I don't know if everybody recalls, but it was about 10 years ago that Alberta Health Services took the responsibility of the medical away from fire departments. And fire departments were really left with fire. What's been happening across the board, across Alberta and potentially across Canada is fire departments, volunteer fire departments, and other fire departments have been responding to medical calls because of the absence or delay in Alberta Health Services response times. Right, and we don't get reimbursement. However, reimbursement isn't really the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue is advocating and pushing for the province to do better. And even though there's a persona out there that they're maybe slightly better, I think we still need to advocate and push the province to continue to do better so they can provide the services that they promised our residents and Albertans. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think we each have a role. Alberta Health Services and Fire Services, we each have a role, and it'd be nice to be able to tighten those roles up and see, like, where do we work together? Where's the gaps and all of those types of things. Councillor Brennan.
Chief Messner, so as it stands right now, if you're dispatched to an Alpha or a Bravo, and this is definitely getting into the weeds a little bit, but so if the EMS is half an hour out, and in that span of time, you're not, can you be relieved to go and respond to a more pressing call? Or are you?
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Very good question. As it stands right now, when we are attached to a call, we're attached to a call.
Right.
Once we arrive on scene through as a first aider, as a part of the MFR program or medical first response program, that is now our patient until such time as we're relieved by an ambulance.
Okay.
Or responding AHS crew.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, further questions?
Just in addition to Mayor Harris's comment about risk, risk of dispatching or lifting people in the lodge, what other risks do you presently foresee or could you assume if we didn't change the calls, change it all right up, if we just left the way it was? Do you have any other risks that you could see, like lack of people in Alberta? Like what other implications would happen if we maintain status quo right now, in your mind?
Through the chair. Counselor, definitely the increased call volume is definitely a risk. Really, it is. It's the more calls we go to, it does not allow us to focus in on some of the more important aspects that I'm envisioning for the department, which is training, which, to improve those, some of those other response mandates of fire and rescue that I would very much like to look at. By refocusing more towards the critical emergent calls, that will allow us to alleviate some of these Alpha and Bravos and some of the less non-emergent Charlies that we are going to, allowing me to refocus some of that time towards other aspects of the department.
Okay, so supplemental question, when you say increase, like we have no metrics to look at January 2021, 22, 23. If we see an increase, we can just say that there are a number of calls. So do you believe that we've seen an increase of calls? And are you just referring to the number of calls we attend and you'd like to decrease the current number of calls?
Through the chair, I can't really foresee what kind of numbers we're going to be having in the future.
Sorry, I'll clarify. I don't mean that. I mean, when you comment, you say that there's an increase in calls, and that's the word you used, an increase in calls. you're more talking, you'd like to see a decrease in the fire team going out to these calls, but we're not seeing like there hasn't been a significant spike on these Alpha Bravo calls that you're looking to get rid of, is there? Has there been a massive increase that you've seen?
I through the chair, unfortunately, all I've been I can get more information for you, counselor, and go back in past years. This is just basically what I've done in this for this year only, in terms of numbers. But to provide you with a clearer picture, it's what I would like to do is actually go back and maybe provide multiple years in the past if I have those records on hand and be able to provide those numbers for you.
Okay.
Through the chair. I can just maybe clarify a little bit too. I think what Councillor Knight is asking is like, you would like to see existing like current numbers start to come down.
Yes.
Call volume come down.
Yes.
I think that's what you're looking for.
That's
So
a clarification increase. Thank you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. Yes. I mean, last year, I believe, was a record high. And then this year, right now, we're trending a little lower than what we were last year. Which is positive, but I think what Chief Messner would also like to see is just a continual, just to try and bring that call volume down a little more, to try and focus on some more of the training that he would like to see.
Okay, thank you. I did have one other question, just to clarify, on average, how many firefighters do we have that can respond to calls in town during the day?
Well, your worship, that definitely, it fluctuates.
Mhm.
At any one time through the programs that were initiated by the previous fire chief, I have the incredible ability to at least have, most of the time, at least have one, if not two people on staff with me at the fire hall during the day.
Surely you have up 2 to 3 guaranteed during the day.
Well, I wouldn't say guarantee it. It's not all the time. You have one that's
Yourself,
guaranteed.
yes.
But
And can one take a truck out?
that much very, very much depends on what kind of operating procedures in which we do roll. In my previous position as deputy fire chief in Crow's Nest Pass, that was our response mandate. Is the chief and I, we would take a week a call, and we would actually have a response truck for ourselves, in which we would actually initiate responding to the call ourselves.
But that's not the case here. I think
No.
we can only speak to here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here, no. It's as it stands right now. We are going to medical calls with minimum 2.
Yeah.
And we would like to see, if staffing allows, a full truck or engine rescue with 4.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Through the chair. Thank you, Mayor Harris. I just wanted to clarify just with your request for invoicing to AHS, you want all calls, or that includes Delta and Echoes, or the lower end calls that
All.
we may?
All medical calls
Okay.
that should be the responsibility of AHS. Or, well, not even that, but any medical calls that we respond to should be invoiced to AHS. Whether they're within town or outside of town. And if possible, I think that maybe we should add that to the motion.
Can I just make a suggestion, is that we could administration take a look at any sort of legalities around that?
And bring it back to the
and
next
bring it
meeting.
back to council before we?
That's fair. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
In mind, we're all asked.
Okay. Then we can get a motion as is, or whatever motion council chooses to propose. And the other choice is if council feels that we don't have enough information, we can also table it.
To the chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Knight.
I don't foresee me voting to change it, but I do think that there is some data that we're missing. So if other counselors are willing to look at that information, that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, you
I would look to table it personally.
want to make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion that we table the fire department levels of service 2023-03 till the next council meeting, November the 8th. 7th, sorry.
You were close. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Through the
Okay.
chair.
Does this have to do with the fire? Or do you want to have discussion?
It does have,
Or-
it's just actually just a, maybe we'll talk about that one.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Okay, item 6.2, compliance certification policy 2023-08. Director of Corporate Services, Lindsay Nash.
Good evening again, council. The current Town of Crossfield certificate of compliance policy is outdated and requires updates as the administrative processes have changed since the 2009 policy. And the updated policy reflects the updated changes. This policy applies to development staff and or delegates and the applicant to request a compliance certification. One major change is that we do no longer provide letter of compliances for properties that comply with the respective land use bylaw policies. We now provide a compliance stamp on the real property report noting that the property complies with and meets all the requirements as outlined within the land use bylaw. This change is in line with our red tape reduction considerations and can be a quick turnaround time for the applicant. Administration recommends that council accept the compliance certification policy 2003-08 as prepared.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Questions for Lindsay? Okay, if we have no questions, can I get a motion?
Through the
Councillor
chair-
Brennan.
oh, sorry, through the chair. I move that the compliance certification policy 2022-08 be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Uh,
Yep, motion carried. Item 7, actions and decisions. 7.1, quarterly financial update. Finance Officer Amber Ouellette.
Thank you very much, Mayor Harris. Good evening, council. Administration is committed to providing regular updates to council on organizations' financial activities. In this financial update, notable financial variances will be highlighted. This financial update will cover the first 9 months of the year. Revenue highlights include bank interest continues to exceed budgeted expectations. The current high interest savings account rates at about 4.55%. Utility revenue, penalty revenue is lower than budgeted and approximately 30% lower than the revenue collected in the same period last year. This is an indicator that our collection practices are having the intended effect and fewer accounts are carrying outstanding balances. Building and development permit revenues continue to exceed expectations and have already surpassed amounts collected in 2022. And I looked back through the years in the permitting revenue, and this appears to be a record-breaking year so far, and we still have nearly 3 months left. The Rocky View County Fire Service Agreement was invoiced a few weeks ago, and this agreement is in effect until December 2024. And 314 Pure Community Investment, we have not received any funds. That agreement with them is based on 0.5% of their gross revenue. So 314 Pure ceased operations in July. However, we've come to learn that a group of board members are attempting to work with financiers and an investor to arrange funds to reestablish operations. So we'll see. Expense highlights. Obviously, there's some variances that are attributed to timing of expenditures and seasonal nature of activities. Examples are insurance premiums. So we'll see the last 2 months of the year billed out here right away. And the 911 dispatch contract timing, typically we get the invoice for that in December. So they don't always follow smoothly through the year. Legal fees are over budget. There's some longstanding issues relating to utility servicing, updating agreements such as the 911 dispatch agreement, development agreements, and other legal matters relating to previous employees that are impacting that budget area. As mentioned in my last report, electricity expenses continue to trend higher than budget, but next year we should see a decrease in that because of our locked-in rate with Power Plus. Sewer repair and maintenance expenses are higher than expected due to a couple sewer breaks in town. I think there was 3, and we're just finding the cost to repair the road infrastructure and whatnot is more than it had been previous. So I provided a brief highlight or update on the capital budget, just that approximately 57% of the budget's been spent so far, and that updates on project status are included in the enclosed variance report. Not included in this report, but worth mentioning is that the property tax sale is scheduled for November 2nd at 10 a.m. So there are 2 properties that are currently on the list. You'll see an advertisement in the Rocky View Weekly this week with more details on that sale, but the sale will be again November 2nd at 10 a.m. in the multipurpose room here at the community center. So my recommendation is for council to accept the 2023 operating budget update and capital budget update as of September 30th for information. And I'm available for any questions.
Thanks, Amber. Questions for Amber?
Through the chair, Amber, if we can go under revenue highlights for 314.
Sure.
Have they been given any deadlines to get caught up, or have they given you any timelines, expected timelines to be back up on operating again?
No, we haven't had any real fruitful conversations with through and for Pure, but our collection agent has been has had some communication with them, so it doesn't sound like there's any definitive plan forward at this point. So
basically we're looking at getting in the queue.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
yes. In respect to, I'll just say we're in the queue.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Amber.
All right, any other questions for Amber? No, okay. Thanks, Amber. There's no further questions. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
And go ahead, Councilor Lambert.
I'd like to make a motion that the 2023 operational budget updated as of September 30th be accepted for information.
So all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carried.
The last motion, I think we might have made a mistake on 6.2.
6.2.
I think when Councilor Brennan actually read that, it says 2022, which it says in the print here. It should be 2023.
Yeah, okay, well, Councilor Brendan, are you okay with that amendment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All of council, okay with that amendment?
Good catch.
Yeah, thank you for catching that. Councilor Gustafson.
Night.
Well, I
No, I'm saying-
actually it was Councilor Gustafson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, item 7.2, ACO gas franchise fees. Amber, looks like you're up again.
Yes, thank you very much. This report is to provide council with information pertaining to the natural gas franchise fee, proposed natural gas franchise fee increase in Crossfield and its impact on property taxes. Franchise fees are a source of non-tax revenue used to reduce the municipal property tax revenue requirement. Some background information on this. ATCO Gas and Pipeline franchise fee agreement renewed on January 1st, 2021 for a 10-year agreement expiring December 31st, 2030. Currently, the franchise fees outlined within the franchise agreement are set at 17%. The franchise fee percentage has not increased since it was introduced in 2021. A franchise fee is an amount paid to the municipality for the use of their infrastructure. It is basically a payment partially in lieu of foregone taxes on property due to the use of utility corridors. The natural gas distribution company bills and collects the franchise fee from customers, and they in turn send payments to the municipality. The amounts billed to the customer are based on the agreed fee calculation within the franchise agreement and bylaw. Essentially, when a utility company uses private land, it pays rent to the landowner, the municipality, and passes this cost of doing business on to the end user. The main premise of the franchise fee was to generate additional revenue to eliminate the tax subsidization that had been occurring. While virtually all entities use natural gas, not all entities pay property taxes. Under a user pay philosophy, all properties that benefit from a gas distribution system should contribute to the cost and/or lost revenue that the service creates. The use of franchise fees to increase revenue from tax-exempt groups distributes the burden of paying for town services and supports equity and fairness. It is often thought that franchise fees function as a form of taxation. The Alberta Utilities Commission, the AUC, through various decisions, supports the principle that franchise fees are a user fee and not a tax. Many municipalities in Alberta take advantage of this revenue stream as a strategy to offset property tax increases. Franchise fee calculation. Crossfield's franchise fee is calculated as a percentage of the delivery fee. This ensures the fee does not change with the cost of natural gas commodities. The Alberta Utility Commission allows municipalities to select a franchise fee for within their franchise agreement anywhere between 0 and 35%. The Alberta Utilities Commission sets a fee ceiling of 35%. Through a designated process, council may seek to adjust the franchise fee periodically during the agreement. Comparison to similar sized municipalities and regional municipalities. The natural gas franchise fees of other similar sized Alberta municipalities range from 0 to 25%. The average natural gas franchise fee of those municipalities who have franchise agreements is 19.5%. That the details are included on attachment number 2. Overall, when looking at municipalities in our region, the average franchise fee of those with franchise agreements is 23.4%. Impact of natural gas franchise fee. The revenue generated from the franchise fees is applied to reduce or offset the municipal property tax revenue. The net impact to each customer is variable. Customers with average natural gas consumption and average assessed property values will likely see an overall decrease in combined costs. Customers with above average natural gas consumption, typically non-residential customers, may see an increase in their overall costs. Non-taxable entities will see an increase in costs as there is no property tax offset available to this group. So, administration is recommending an increase of the natural gas franchise fee from the current rate of 17% to 20%, which results in a franchise fee revenue increase of $36,995 and generates an offsetting 0.95% reduction in the municipal tax requirement. For a large portion of the residential properties, the net impact of raising the franchise rate and the offsetting taxes will result in a small decrease overall. This achieves tax stability as the municipal tax requirement is being supported through an increased user fee. Should council implement this recommendation, the town would begin to receive additional revenue in 2024. There are a few alternatives that council could explore, such as defining a different franchise fee percentage from 17 to 35%. Each 1% is the equivalent to about a 0.3% tax decrease. And do nothing and continue with the 17% natural gas franchise fee. So there are a few enclosures, including a letter from ATCO Gas, the municipal comparisons, and just a little table with some franchise fee revenue estimates in it. So I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Amber. One for me. On average, for a household in Crossfield, what does that 3% mean?
Well, thank you very much for asking that question. Of course, average is hard to define. And the time of year, it's hard to define what your average usage would be. But looking at a few bills in the September range, so it's, not really hot, not really cold. We're looking at about a 92-cent increase per month.
Okay.
On average. So it's under $12 a year.
Okay. I think that puts it in perspective, not only for us, but for
absolutely.
Residents.
When you can relate it back to your own personal situation, then it helps to explain that decision. I should also have mentioned, if through the chair, if you don't mind, that this franchise fee increase is part of our budget. Pardon me. The budget strategy that administration is proposing this year for a 0% tax increase. However, this 3% franchise fee increase is contributing to that scenario. So it is factored into the budget that we'll be discussing next week.
Right. And just to be clear too, when you do a franchise fee increase, this isn't just to taxpayers.
No, all residents of the municipality that have
residents, business,
yes,
yeah.
all customers who use natural gas in the municipality of Crossfield contribute to this revenue stream.
So this kind of spreads out that cost to everyone and not just our taxpayer.
That's right, because there's several properties in town that are exempt from taxes, such as schools, lodges, municipal buildings that do not contribute to taxes. However, they do contribute to the franchise fee user fees.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay, questions for Amber?
Mr.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Knight.
Thanks for clarifying that, because I have a question of how many non-taxable entities do we have in town? So that's a bit of an idea. So I'm doing the math here. So you think it's $10? So I'm coming up with $36,995 and divided by the tax paying people of 3,600. So we're thinking that's where you get the number from, then, like the $10 or the $12?
No, I looked at actual bill, natural gas bills based on the current 17% rate, and just, did the math and just extrapolated what an extra 3% would look like on those distribution and transmission charges that we use to base the fee on.
And being fiscally responsible to our residents, how much has natural gas went up or down? Because if natural gas is spiked, 3% on that spiking makes a difference. So the need to actually increase the overall number, if natural gas is continuously raising, we're still making more revenue. It can't just be a 3% number.
So through the chair, the franchise fee is based on the distribution and transmission charges, not the cost of the gas, the gigajoules or the electric kilowatts and stuff like that. So it's not based on that commodity rate. It is based on the delivery and transmission, which I am not sure how they determine those rates, but they are distinctly not correlated.
One more.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm going, because I think on the transmission and the deliveries, we seem to be seeing them going up, up, up. Have we compared what our last 3 years of what we've got off franchise fees has been on that 17%? Have we seen any increase in money on our franchise fees over the last 2 or 3 years?
Through the chair, I would say that yes, there through growth, even we're seeing more homes with natural gas accounts. And so we would see more delivery and transmission charges. The rates typically there is an increase, but it is, like there's a lot of factors that determine what gas is. If we have a unusually warm winter, then the rates, everyone would be paying less, and in turn we would be earning less. In turn, we would be paying less. The town would also be paying less in franchise fees. So it's kind of a interesting hedge in respect to some of our utility costs, the town of Crossfield's utility costs also. But overall, the amount we do bring in does generally trend upwards.
So, and last one. So the reason why is simply it'll have the ability to, in our projected budget, to potentially have our citizens without a significant or much of a reason in an increase in taxes. That's our overall goal from this.
Well, the overall goal is to fund the revenue requirement of the budget that council passes. And we have certain levers we can pull to do that. Property taxes is the main one, but franchise fees and user fees is another way to fill that revenue requirement hole. So this is just, as my report mentioned, a more equitable and fiscal a way to spread that tax burden over a different size population.
I'm not in love with raising taxes or franchise fees, but we do have to stay within the budget. So
Any other questions for Amber? Well, thanks, Amber, for your really good information and clarifying all the questions that were asked, and also putting in perspective for not only us, but for anybody who would pay the franchise rate. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, if there's no further question or discussion, can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
I move that the town of Crossfield increase the natural gas franchise fee from 17% to 20% effective January 1st, 2024, and the notice be given to ATCO Gas and Pipeline Limited no later than November the 1st, 2023, and then administration execute and complete all required documentation and advisory and advertising requirements to enable consideration to approval by the Alberta Utilities Commission.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Amber. Might as well stay in your seat. 7.3 Fortis Alberta franchise fee.
Thank you very much, Mayor Harris. This report is to provide council with information pertaining to the electrical franchise fee percentage. Franchise fees, as I had previously mentioned, are a non-tax revenue used to reduce the municipal property tax revenue requirement. Each year by November 1st, the town must inform Fortis Alberta of any changes to the current franchise fee percentage. I'm not going through this entire report because I'll pretty much just be repeating exactly what I just said. However, there are some notable changes. So the Fortis Alberta electrical franchise fee was implemented in 2023. Our current rate is 17%, and the 2024 electrical franchise fee revenue is estimated at $579,833. The franchise fee calculation as I had previously mentioned, is calculated as a percentage of the delivery fee. Just ensures that the fee does not change with the cost of the electricity commodity. Unlike the natural gas franchise fee, the ceiling for the electrical is 20% set by the Alberta Utilities Commission. And there is also a comparison of similar sized municipalities and regional municipalities attached. And the average franchise fee for similar sized municipalities who have a franchise agreement is 12.8%. And it ranges from 3.5 to 20% in our region. So administration's recommendation is to not adjust the electrical franchise fee at this time. And of course, council always has alternatives. And if they do not wish to support the above recommendation, they can define a different franchise fee percentage up to 20%, and each 1% is equivalent to $34,108, which is equivalent to just under 1% of tax impact. Again, similar enclosures, and I'm available for questions.
Excellent. Thanks, Amber. Questions for Amber? No. Good job, Amber. No questions. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that the Fortis Alberta franchise fee percentage remain unchanged at 17%, and that notice be given to Fortis Alberta no later than November 1st, 2023.
All in favor? Motion carried. Excellent. Thanks, Amber.
You're welcome.
You're off
You're
the hot
welcome.
seat. Okay, we're on to item 8, Mayor and Council business. I just want to introduce Annie, and I'm sorry if I get your last name wrong. Annie Kalamatila. Excellent. Mayor of Zambia. That's right. So I met Annie about a month ago, I think, at one of the women elected officials events in Airdrie. Subsequent to that, Annie came to Alberta municipalities to learn how our councils do business. And I had a small chat with her there as well. And she reached out and said she just wanted to attend one of our meetings and observe and learn and be here. And I said, yeah, come on down. I told her where it was, and she showed up. Sorry, I couldn't answer your call earlier. We had already started the meeting, but welcome and thank you for coming. Thank you, Ann. All right, so I went to trivia night on Friday. We came in a respectable third place, which isn't so bad, right? Be a little embarrassing if we came last, I would say.
Yeah.
I also attended the intermunicipal committee meeting with Rockview County this week. And we went over, recreation needs assessment and talked about just having chats with Rockview up front on, how we could partner and work towards recreation amenities. So Russ and Derry, their prospective admin members from each party, are going to have a look at that and bring back more information once they've gone through that and decided. And we also talked a little bit about the MOU agreement, which will be coming shortly to council. So it was actually a fairly short meeting. Yeah. So Deputy Mayor Fox. Sorry,
I guess my last meeting,
you
I'm
are
deputy mayor
not there anymore. So let's we're skipping you and going to Councillor Lambert.
Nothing further to report.
Well, you should have stayed on me.
No, Councillor Brennan.
Okay.
I also was at trivia night Friday, and that was a really good event. Lots of laughs, very fun, well put on. And other than that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Counselor Fox.
Okay, I also attended the Kiwanis Trivia Night and it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did do it again. And I will also be attending the fundraiser this Saturday for Tales to Tell.
Excellent. Counselor Gustafson.
Just an upcoming meeting with the Rockview Foundation coming up on next Wednesday. So I always miss. I have to report on it
Mhm.
2 weeks after. So that's upcoming.
That-
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Counselor Knight.
We are at the Water Commission in Innisfil. We are working on budgeting on our numbers so we can give some towns some the numbers for water for this year. So that's our right now. I do get a question back. Do we have to re-motion back in people that are in their positions and terms?
And we do, and we will at our organizational meeting.
Okay, cool. Just
Yeah.
because they're asking that for our budgeting purposes. I think what we're gonna see is we'll see another percentage increase. I don't think it'll be the 6% we seen last year. I hope it won't be, but I don't know. I don't know where the answer is gonna be. We can't keep continually raising prices, but we would have to look at creative ways. Some towns are taking the increase from the commission and trying to lower what we increase it. We have some ability to control our expense, so we upcharge it, but we'll have to have maybe we'll have a bit of an interesting time trying to put that puzzle together.
Good thing it's you, Mike. Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Counselor Knight. Counselor Vang.
I also attended the intermunicipal meeting with Rockview County, and as Mayor Harris said, recreation was discussed and the MOU for Collicut.
Thank you. And I just have two things to add. I will be attending a meeting with our neighbors to the north, Carstairs, Didsbury, Mountain View County, and Cremona, just to talk about regional policing and what that looks like. And we don't have a lot of information yet, so we will be asking for more information to come to this council table before we go down any path of making any type of decisions. And then I also had a coffee with the mayor at Stack Bistro. I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but I think it was Friday.
It was last week.
Yeah, it was on Friday. There was around 5 businesses there, I guess. Their main concern really, as you guys saw by the email, was just signage for businesses, and what does that look like, and how can the town basically help move some of that signage forward, and what does it look like? So I did ask if admin could have a look at that, meet with businesses in the chamber to see, where the greatest need is and what that could look like, and basically come back to us by spring or so and with a solution. Okay, so that's our updates. Can I get a motion?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I motion that mayor and councillor updates be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. There's no further correspondence. And so we'll move on to upcoming events. Wednesday, October 18th, Seniors Indoor Walking Group from 10:30 to 11:30 at the Crossfield Community Center. Tuesday, October 24th, Adulting 101 Workshop on Boundaries from 5:30 to 7 at the Crossfield Municipal Library. Wednesday, October 25th, Senior Swim Trip to Didsbury Pool. Bus departs Crossfield Community Center at 12:15 and arrives back at 3:15. Thursday, October 26th, Seniors Chair Yoga from 10:30 to 11:30 at the Crossfield Golden Key Club. Thursday, October 26th, Seniors Paint Night from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Crossfield Golden Key Club. Monday, October 30th, Crossfield Recreation Board funding meeting. Friday, October 20th, Who's Crew Parent Society presents Halloween Howler Dance. Family dance 6 to 8:30 and 18+ after party dance is at 9:30 to midnight at the Crossfield Community Hall. For tickets, go to whoscrewparents@gmail.com. Saturday, October 21st, Tales to Tell presents a tribute to Elton John from 5 to 11 at the Crossfield Community Center. Go to Eventbrite .com, details to tell presents Elton John tickets. Friday, November 3rd and Saturday, November 4th, Crossfield Farmers Market, Christmas Market. Friday from 5 to 9 and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 4 venues: Crossfield Community Center, Crossfield Elementary School, W.G. Murdoch School, and Collycut Siding Golf Club. And that concludes our meeting. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that council adjourn the meeting at 8:15 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you.
All in favor?